Quack, 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 quack. Oregon wins. That's a sound piece from the Mighty Ducks. The Ducks were mighty today. Maybe not as mighty as we predicted. We predicted it would be kind of a blowout. Only an 8-point win. Came down to the final minutes, kind of. Vlad, what do you see from this Oregon team as they take home the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, I mean, first, tip of the cap to Penn State. I mean, I was all about Oregon kind of running them out off the field when we recorded the preview. And it honestly could have gone that way. It looked to be for a little bit, but I was pretty impressed with Penn State coming back, showing fight. I've never really been the biggest Drew Aller fan, but he actually played pretty well. And if he plays another year in college, I mean, I could see the NFL being a pretty high opportunity in terms of draft round and draft pick.
Totally agree. He had some really good throws today. I was impressed with him. The thing I was most impressed about with Penn State, and I think, because they are in the CFP, we'll do a 3-man CFP preview here in the coming days or so, but I really enjoyed their physicality here in the run game. Katron Allen, 14 carries, 124 yards and a touchdown. Singleton, 10 carries for 105 yards. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch there at the running back. If you had two things you could maybe work on for Penn State, it was mainly just the defense. I mean, they could not stop Dillon Gabriel. They got a couple of stops at times, but Gabriel just kind of worked them, especially with the MVP of this game, Tez Johnson. 11 catches, 181 yards, and a touchdown. What did you see from Oregon today?
I mean, like we said, Dillon Gabriel, I mean, we raved about him last episode. I mean, the offense was the offense. I mean, it's kind of what I expected. Obviously, the defense kind of let Penn State back in the game. I mean, I think they'll be fine in the playoff. Penn State's not a bad team by any means. So I don't think there's anything to worry about Oregon. Obviously, they put up 45 points, so I don't think there's much to worry about there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Oregon's rushing attack wasn't bad either. Jordan James and Noah Whittington both went for 80-plus yards and combined for 2 touchdowns. Gabriel really impressed me. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Heisman ceremony along with Genty and Hunter, especially like his story about, not sure if you saw the game day feature where he was driving around in his minivan. Not sure if you saw that. Yeah, he still drives a minivan, so I guess that's kind of an alluring quality about him. But yeah, I think his experience really showed, especially down the stretch when they got the ball back from that interception, and then he kind of just iced the game.
Yep.
On that running play on the ground. But Penn State fans, I would feel pretty encouraged. Tyler Warren had a pretty good game. Not amazing for his standards, but 7 catches, 84 yards. Vlad, I'll ask you this next. What do you think that both these teams can improve on? And where do you think that they'll go in the CFP?
I like Oregon to start to at least make a good run, at least. Obviously, I mean, just by looking at the score, you can say that defense needs to be improved upon. I think the offense was, I mean, can't complain about 45 points ever. So I'll just say defense for Oregon. Penn State, I know a lot of their fans have been very critical of James Franklin. I go back and forth on whether it's coaching sometimes and whether it's recruiting. Obviously, I think they have a lot of talent this year on both sides of the ball. I do think in the future, though, like a true, like, top dog, like number 1 wide receiver Really help them out. So I know I've seen some fans say, hey, if Penn State can't win their first CFP game, like, do they fire Franklin? I don't think so. I think they would at least wait it out another year or two.
That's really great analysis. And I was going to bring up the wide receiver point, actually. Not a lot to – obviously, they got Warren, and they got a couple of touchdowns for some other guys, but not a lot of production this year from the wide receiver front. Looking at the stats here, Warren had the bulk of the catches. He had over 1,000 yards, but the next two wide receivers didn't even combine for 1,000.
No.
So, I know a guy that played a lot last year. He's playing a little bit this year. Liam Clifford from St. X. I know he was pretty big when I was in high school as far as hype goes. Would like to see him be a little better. As respectfully, as a guy who's not that fast, you got to have these catches. And there were two instances during the game in the first half where there were some pretty tough contested catches that he just didn't come down with. So I think a top wide receiver could serve them well. Abdul Carter, I think, could play a little better. He had an okay game. 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. But if he's the first round draft pick, like the top 15 pick that some people say he is, I would like to see a little bit more from him. And I agree with you on the James Franklin front. Now, how about Oregon? Where do you see Oregon kind of sliding in?
In terms of CFP, I'd like them to at least go to semis championship. I don't know if they're my outright favorite. Hey, they're definitely going to win the championship this year. I don't really think I have a pick for that yet. I don't think there's you might consider them a clear favorite just because of their record and they've played well against big teams, but I don't know. The CFP is a lot different. You're playing the top of the top teams. You got to win more than 1 or 2 games. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But I definitely am a lot more confident in Oregon than I am Penn State. That's for sure.
I would agree. Now just a few more kind of questions for you, and then we'll end this recap. Tez Johnson was the MVP of the game, like we mentioned, 11 catches for 181 yards. Learned that he was Bo Nix's brother.
Yeah, I don't know the whole story there, but yeah.
Well, he played like an NFL receiver today, and I haven't watched him too much this year, but wouldn't be surprised with his speed if he gets taken. He is only 5'10", 160 pounds, so that might hold him up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you like out of the kid from Troy who transferred over to Oregon in 2023?
Yeah, obviously you saw what he can do on the field. In terms of next level stuff, like you said, the size might hold him up. I would say it might hold him up more draft-wise than it might actual production-wise in the league. I think some guys just tend to fall in the draft because of their measurables. So that's something to look at. And then I do want to circle back to the Penn State receiver talk real quick. We did see something with them with the transfer portal last year. They picked up Julian Fleming from Ohio State. Not that that's played a big factor, but in terms of future receivers for Penn State, I think we could see an increase in them. Look at the transfer portal at some of these guys that were highly recruited but haven't necessarily worked out at these bigger schools. So I know Oregon actually has had a fair amount of those huge 5-star receivers who come to Oregon. They don't really carve out a role or whatever it might be, and they end up leaving. So I would look at Penn State as one of those teams that could end up grabbing some of these guys who don't work out at these top schools.
Yeah, I think that's phenomenal analysis, Vlad. Yeah, Julian Fleming, my goodness. He was a 5-star recruit in the 2020 class.
Yeah,
I didn't
he
even
was
know.
one of the biggest ones ever.
I didn't even know he was on Penn State. He didn't do anything today in the game, which is interesting. But I like the transfer portal angle, especially with Drew Aller maturing as a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think the future might be bright for Penn State fans and obviously Oregon fans too. Like we alluded to in the preview, Dan Lanning, really great coach. Vlad, I got a couple more questions for you. We talked a little bit about Oregon's jersey combo in the preview. If you had to grade Oregon's jersey combo on like the standard grading scale, what would you give it and why?
I think the helmets take it down a full letter grade for me personally.
Yes.
I was a fan of the excuse me, the jersey and pants. I just did not like the look of I don't know what it was, but just the look of the helmet color just didn't really mesh well with the whole uniform for me. So I'll settle for like C+.
I 100% agree on the C+ rating. I think the helmet really did take it down.
Yeah.
The green helmet and the black shirt combo, black jersey, excuse me, feels it could be better. So, Phil Knight, if you're listening to this, sending us free gear would be incredible. You can email me. And secondly, you got to do better on the jerseys. You have so many combinations like we alluded to last time. And finally, don't mean to disrespect any Penn State fans, but I've always just wondered, what is a Nittany Lion? Do you know?
I personally don't know.
Like, what's the difference between a regular lion and then a Nittany lion?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I've just kind of always, I don't know, I guess it's kind of just slid under the radar with me. Like, hey, it's a Nittany Lion. I don't know what that is, but that's how the world is, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, comment below, what's a Nittany Lion? Good luck in the CFP, guys.
Yeah.